What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 16 episode 16 of X Knows the Evan and Bros. I'm your most gracious host, Evan, and I hope everybody's doing well. This is going to be this is Friday the 14th, so just skipped out on that, Friday the 13th. Thank God. We're all good, so no need to worry. We just missed that. Does that mean next month is Friday the 13th, or would have that been July? I think that's how it works.
I don't know.
Nobody knows. All right. Y'all are so unreliable. Come on, college grads. Anyway, joining me through Zoom is, first up, Mr. Cole Parris.
How y'all doing?
Cole on for a second day of the week in a row. I love it. He's committed. He loves it. He loves talking sports and talking shit. So that's what's important. That's what you need. It's a dangerous combo. And he brings the facts. Up also, he bitched at me last night about not being on Tuesday's show. So I
didn't get a call.
What I do is we have a group and I text. I'm like, all right, who's on? This time, I will admit, I did not do that. I did not say who's on. All I did was just send the articles because I already assumed, because Broderick could not make Sunday's show because he was on the road, that he could not make Tuesday's show. That is my fault. I will take the blame on that. But get out my DMs. Introducing through Zoom, Broderick Olin.
Yeah, I was up at like 9:30 on Tuesday, and I was just waiting for Evan to text or call me, and he never did. And I was like, I guess we're not recording. So the week prior, we took a day off for the editor to just have a little break. So I was like, I guess we're just doing a little break now. And then I wait a day, and I see they release an episode, and I'm like, wow, thanks for the call, Evan.
Yeah, again, I'll take the L on that one. But Tuesday's show, it was a good show. A lot of basketball to talk about because the bubble's finishing up. And then obviously it was kind of, that was during Tuesday's show, the rumors were circulating about college football. And I feel like every time we shoot this damn show, 30 minutes later, an hour later after we're done filming, that's when the real news breaks. So we get to talk about it on today's show. So, without further ado, let's get this show started, y'all.
X's and O's
It's going to be a fun day.
with Evan and Bros. Yeah.
Okay, it's X's and O's with Evan and Bros. Of course, it's a talk show, man, talking about sports. The one and only Evan Miller, yeah, that's your host, doing analyzing with the side of jokes. Hey, X's and O's with Evan and Bros. X's and O's with Evan and Bros. X's and O's with Evan and Bros. Hey, analyzing with the side of jokes.
All right, boys and girls, let's talk sports. So, NBA's finishing up in this bubble. We knew on Tuesday's show that the Pelicans and Kings have been eliminated. Thank you. We know those two teams have been eliminated. And now it seems like it's the Trailblazers to lose, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of that scenario. But they still have to do a play-in, right, between the Spurs. Most likely, we're not done yet, right? Spurs and Suns are still. Suns are 7-0.
Oh, don't count the Grizzlies yet.
Okay, well, I guess
Grizzlies
the Grizzlies are still
there.
in. All right. They brought too many teams to Orlando, if you ask me. Anyway, so let's start on Tuesday. We'll make our way. Eldad had our picks, but obviously Eldad's not here because he called in sick, which is fine. I hope he's doing okay. But maybe we'll remember our picks off the top of our head. Who knows? So, Broderick, you've missed a few games. But I think I came out on top on you, and I came out on top on Eldad. I just want you to know that. So don't feel bad. You and Eldad are in the losers club. together over the
I
weekend.
don't know about that.
All right. First up, Bucks Wizards. Nothing really to say here. I picked the Bucks. I think did we all pick the Bucks, Cole, or did you pick your Wizards?
No, we all picked the
this
Bucks.
is when you said Bucks by 100, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So
should have been more, honestly.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, I kind of find like these games kind of but you also only played 10 minutes. So it's like, so Bucks won 126 to 113. We're going to run through this NBA schedule first, give our next picks, and then we're going to move on to other news that I think is important. But yes, Bucks won 126 to 113. Giannis played 10 minutes. Everybody else averaged around, 20 to 25 minutes also. So I don't think anybody strayed away from the Bucks on the panel, but if they did, it probably was the reason why nobody was going to play for the Bucks. But I still argue the Pat Covington, was it Coffington?
Pat Connaughton.
Pat Connaughtons of the world are still better than half of the Wizards roster. So that's my argument. All right, Cole. Anything about this game that jumps off?
Nothing as far as the Bucks are concerned. If I'm the Wizards, though, I'm extremely concerned because this entire bubble, there has been no bright spot for the young core, which means this season was kind of a waste outside of seeing Bradley Beal have an all-star season because Rui's been not great. Thomas Bryant's been okay, but and Troy Brown has just been inconsistent at best. So really,
what about Ish Smith?
I don't really. Ish Smith, he had a pretty good game, but
Rory had an okay game. Rory had an okay game. Rory had 20.
Yeah, but we don't see that enough from him, honestly. Mm-hmm. And
he also had to get 18 shots up too, and only shot 6 of the 18.
Yeah. It's just he's a high volume shooter for no reason. So I don't know. I think Washington's still got a long way to go.
Yeah. Worst team in the league, talent-wise?
Talent-wise, no. But I think probably the worst team in the East.
Okay. Broderick, thoughts? Anything that jumps off?
I agree with a lot of things Cole said. This lack of development. Like you could see the difference between the Nets and the Wizards here because when you look at the Nets roster, there's not too many names that pop out. Like Caris LeVert's played great. Joe Harris played well. I'm gonna butcher his name, but like Luawu Kara, I have no idea.
The Frenchman,
really yeah,
the Frenchman.
He's picked up, and he's also played well. So you can see the difference between the Nets and the Wizards team, where the Nets, these young players or these role players have stepped up, which will be huge for the Nets next year when everyone's back healthy. But going off what Cole said, this lack of development, or I guess leadership in the Wizards, have really hurt them. And I think this just even pushes Bradley Beal even further out. Bradley Beal had a great year, ups his trade value, could help the Wizards get some nice pieces, but I'm concerned if I'm the Wizards with the players they have. Like if Thomas Bryant is playing the best on your team, you've got some problems. He's a good player, but by no means should he be the best player on your roster with your star player out. Well,
he is, unfortunately for them. All right, moving on to Pelicans Kings. Another barn burner between these two losers of organizations. I picked the Kings. I think 3 of us picked the Kings, and Towson lone wolf it with the Pelicans, if I'm not mistaken. That's what.
Yeah, I think that sounds right.
I think Eldad was saying that the other day. So I'm trying to stay correct. I think this was a 50-50 game. It could have gone either way, but I figured nobody was going to play for the Pelicans, and I mean, that was the case. I mean, Josh Hart hit 30 minutes. So, I mean, that was, yeah. So, no, nothing big on here. These two teams suck. Anything you guys notice or take away, want to point out? We're going to move on.
Bogdanovich is kind of up in his value for free agency.
Well, yeah, he was on a 1-year deal. Well, he only had one more year on his deal.
I think he's either expiring. If he's not expiring, then he's just upping his trade value. So
yeah, I mean he's gonna be a
good
Laker.
For him.
He's gonna be a Laker, so it doesn't matter.
Good for him taking advantage of the opportunity.
Yeah, Cole.
Real quick, shouts out to Jahlil Okafor, 21 and 26.
it seems every year he just plays in a meaningless game, and then it's just like, oh wow, he's good.
Well,
or is he? I don't know.
yeah,
But
I don't know.
Okafor shows flashes. So, I mean, if he can get on Contender and just throw up some buckets, I mean, he can score the ball. He just needs to be in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, he'd be good at, as a role player for a game 3 or a game 4. So
he's someone who can come in, like you said, one game out of the series, get you 10 to 15, and help get some instant offense. So I'd like to see him on a Contender.
All right, moving on. Trailblazers Mavericks. Wow, what a game! Right?
Yeah.
That was insane. Damian Lillard went off for 61, and everybody was saying he was playing mad because of Skip Bayless. Skip Bayless kind of called him out or whatever. I don't know. All right, I'm actually, and I've said this before, and I'm going to reiterate. I'm really sick, and I saw somebody say it on Twitter too, and I 1,000% agree. Nobody's disrespecting Damian Lillard anymore. So can we stop with this crap? I mean, people
are disrespecting the Blazers big time going into the bubble.
That's fair.
Personally,
that's fair. You can disrespect the Blazers, but I think going into this season, really, and you can even say into the bubble that Damian Lillard is the best point guard in the bubble for sure, or he's everybody's number 2, rightfully so, behind Steph Curry, a bona fide greatest shooter of all time, Hall of Famer, first ballot, 3-time champ. And that's okay to be behind that guy. It's not like that's anything to be upset about, right?
You can go, Cole.
Oh, sorry. Players, if they're not number 1 on your list, they take it personally, which I guess it's a good mentality to have, honestly.
Mm-hmm. And going off of that, if you disrespect their team, they're not going to be okay, cool, you disrespect the team as long as you have me on top of the list. No, Lillard just doesn't work like that. If you disrespect his team, that's also disrespect towards him. So if they're calling the Blazers trash, that means Damian Lillard's not doing a good enough job leading them or putting them in a position to win. So when he was saying put some respect in my name, I think that was to Skip Bayless, but that was also to the people disrespecting the Blazers, saying they didn't have a chance in the bubble because Damian Lillard is good enough to push them into the playoffs and to give the Lakers a run for their money.
Now, I will say, so Damian Lillard put up 61, 5, and 8. He got 32 shots. You better score 61 if you got 32 shots up.
That's crazy. That's very efficient.
17 for 32.
Yeah, for 61 points and only 32 shots, that's very efficient.
Anyway, so I think this also could be detrimental to the Trailblazers, where CJ has not looked the best so far. Now, come playoff time, if they're in that 8 seed, could that be a problem? Do we think that could be an issue where we've seen it with Harden, where Harden gets gassed by game 7, game 6, game 7, even though he's putting up 40, but he can't do it on his own, his other guys, and then you see CJ kind of over here hasn't really popped off at all in the bubble. What do we think? Trouble? Well, or does it matter? Or does it matter if Damian Lillard puts up 60? I just don't know if he can't put a 60 every freaking night.
I mean, it's been reported that CJ has been playing with a fractured back, and it's pretty apparent that would be the case.
I don't know why Damian Lillard is the one carrying them.
Yeah. But I think. But yeah, your Harden argument is kind of true. Obviously Damian's not going to go off for 50 or 60 a night.
He can't. It's just physically, impossible unless you're Wilt.
Yeah. But, Carmelo stepped up a lot. He had 26 and 8 on Tuesday.
Hold on.
Clutch buckets.
We're going to pause y'all real quick. Can you repeat, Cole, you're going to repeat your whole statement, probably.
My whole statement? Okay. So what did I say? I said, I don't see this being sustainable because we've seen, like you said, with your Harden argument, we've seen teams where they depend on a star player kind of just fizzle out. We've seen that with James Harden. We've seen that with Allen Iverson. We've seen that with Charles Barkley. It just doesn't equal a championship for them. So But Carmelo steps up, Gary Trent Jr. steps up, and hopefully CJ's fractured back. Hopefully that gets healed up or something. But just going off of Dame to do 50, 60 a night is not going to work out.
Broderick.
And going off of that, yes, Damian Lillard won't be able to put up these type of numbers every night. I mean, we would all love to see him drop 60 nightly, but it is a concern having CJ not playing as well as we would all hope. But Gary Trent Jr. has stepped up. He's been a great bench player. Carmelo has kind of made life easier on Dame by hitting those clutch threes. I swear every game he's hitting at least 2 clutch threes late down the stretch. And also having Nurkic, who's like a do-it-all big. These players have definitely helped him out, and this is why the Blazers were struggling in the regular season. Missing players, not everyone was in shape. And on top of that, they lost their edge, and I feel like they've kind of found their edge and that chip on the shoulder back in the bubble with everyone doubting whether they'd make the playoffs. So all of this has helped propel them to this situation, but at the same time, they do have to go up against the Lakers. They don't have the star power as the Lakers. CJ's going to have to step up, and I can't see CJ McCollum on this roster next year unless they are fine with mediocrity.
It's a good point. They're probably going to have to make a change if things do not fix, turn around for him, especially since Gary's been playing pretty well. I don't know why you have a $29 million guy on your roster who can't hit anything from the side of a barn. But I will notice when Carmelo plays well, Nurkic doesn't play well, or at least Nurkic doesn't get his shots. I think Nurkic only took like 8 shots at most on this last game. So every time Nurkic performs at a higher level, Carmelo usually, goes down, which makes sense. If somebody taking more shots, the other person obviously isn't going to get as many shots. But I think that's the wrong mentality. I think Nurkic should be at least the second scorer on that team, behind Dame, and then CJ and him can hopefully go off both together. But that's just my observation. All right, moving on. Celtics Grizzlies. Celtics won this game. Grizzlies suck ass. I had all the confidence in the world, even if the Celtics rested everybody, their whole starting 5. If Daniel Tice was out there playing point guard, I had the Celtics still winning this game. I'm not shocked. Celtics won 122-107. Any thoughts, or are we moving on?
Celtics look very good.
They do.
That's it.
They do. Cole?
I love me some Jason Tatum. Love 29 on 10 of 13. That's always good to see.
Yeah.
What's great about the Celtics is that Gordon Hayward's basically a 4th option, and he's averaging about 18 points per game. They have so many options when it gets to the playoffs and who can score the ball, and they're going to be a dangerous team for either the Bucks or Raptors. I mean, I have them beating the Raptors, and coming up just short to the Bucks. So, I mean, they're a tough team to beat.
Moving on. I echo everything that was just said. Suns 76ers. Suns continue to 7-0. That's insane. They keep having to update their Twitter handle. They keep changing their Twitter name to 7-0. Devin Booker was recently named a bubble MVP. Right? That was announced, I think. And so I think, honestly, it probably should have gone to Damian Lillard. But that's fine. It's whatever. But this is going to be a throwaway trophy. It doesn't really matter. But happy for him to see it because he did earn it, because he was doing superhuman efforts. I mean, he couldn't go wrong. They showed a few of the guys who could have been up for it. Luka, James Harden, Booker, and Lillard.
Bubble Warren.
I mean, he should have got some more love. So, I mean, it was all impressive efforts. But Suns won 130-117, and Joel Embiid did not play this game. A lot closer than I thought it was going to be, but good for the Suns. Any thoughts? Or are we moving on?
Just talk about Devin Booker real quick. He's really impressed me by how he's developed his game in the bubble. You could tell he definitely took the time during the, the offseason, or that little 4-month 4-month break. He's developed a skip pass and is a better playmaker, because he's always been a great offensive threat, but the fact that he's developed that skip pass and now he's able to look off defenses with his passing ability, it's done amazing things for this team. Defensively, Mikal Bridges is very long. He's been able to lock up a lot of players.
He's kind of stepped up big in this bubble.
Struggles with quick players, but his length is able to make up for it. DeAndre Ayton, I still want him to be more aggressive and get to the line, because then he'll be a consistent 20 and 10 guy, but great things from him defensively, great things from him offensively. This Suns team is good. They started to figure things out.
Cool.
I think that Monty Williams definitely has a place on the Suns for a while if they want him, especially with the recent coaching carousel hell that they've been through for the last five or so seasons. But you could just tell that there's a certain energy to the team. There's better movement, and I think that also has to do with Booker's playmaking that's just stepped up in huge ways this bubble. But even on defense, they just look like a completely different team than what we've seen from before. And honestly, I think a lot of this has to do with coaching, because yes, there's been a lot of talent going in and out, but such a drastic change in such a short amount of time. I think Monty Williams has played a huge part in that. So hopefully the Suns are smart enough to look at this and say, hey, well, maybe we'll give them another year or another couple years.
You could tell the players are making the rotations and giving a lot of effort, because part of defense is honestly just effort. And a whole lot of that does with coaching. And you can tell these players like playing for Monty Williams.
Yeah, but it also doesn't help that they haven't really hit on their draft picks, in recent years, besides Devin Booker and DeAndre, and yes, Bridges.
I mean, they made a good trade for Bridges.
Well, I was going to say Bridges is going to be hopefully good, but I mean, if you look at Bender, if you look at Chris, if you look at those two are the most notable. Josh Jackson, big one. So it's like those guys aren't even on the freaking roster. Well, is Bender still on the roster?
No,
I don't
exactly.
think he is.
So Bender's not even on the roster, and so it's just you have a couple of these draft picks that they've clearly missed on, but the guys obviously they've hit on have been pretty good, and obviously, and Ayton has stepped up big time on the defensive end, maybe because he feels like he doesn't have to exert so much offensive energy because of Booker going for 30 every night now. So moving on, Rockets Spurs. I couldn't tell you which one I picked, because I think I picked Spurs just because of I figured a lot of players weren't going to be playing for the Rockets. But considering they're still going for, I think them and OKC are playing each other in the first round.
Oh, that's going to be good.
I think it's locked up. I mean, I think the Rockets for sure. I have Rockets probably in 5 in that one, to be honest. In 5 for sure. But we'll talk about that once everything is settled down. But Spurs won 123 to 105. Good for them. They're still in the hunt. This Greg Popovich team I think it's either them or the Spurs. And honestly, a Greg Popovich-led team could easily win it and be in the 8th seed in that play-in. Quick thoughts, or are we moving on?
Harden wasn't playing. Yeah. I mean, kind of just expected the Spurs to win this game.
Exactly.
I mean, like you said, it's locked up. No point to really play too many minutes to your starters.
Yep. Cole?
I just see this as Mike D'Antoni being the biggest fraud in NBA history.
Oh, my God.
I mean, they got out-rebounded by 22. Keldon Johnson, a rookie, had 11 off of the bench. And here's my question, too. How was Ben McLemore – how did he get 16 shots, which was second most on the team, with Russ having 17? 12 of those were threes. So I don't understand the thought process there. It's just –
Shooter's going to shoot, bro.
McLemore is not a shooter. If my team if your coach tells me with a straight face, I want Ben McLemore taking 16 shots and Russell's taking 17, I'm telling them to forfeit the game.
Damn. All right, moving on.
Quick shout out to the Spurs players, like their young core with Murray, Walker, White. Keldon Johnson, all playing great. They have some good pieces there. I say trade Aldridge and DeRozan tank a year, get some good trade pieces or value back from those guys, and they're back contending if they hit on their picks.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe they can convince somebody to come to San Antonio.
Yeah.
Free agency because and join up with Greg because I'm sure he has a lot of influence too, and it's a winning culture. And if you're an older guy, you've lived your life already, and you want to really contend and be with one of the greatest coaches of all time, then yeah, why won't you go to San Antonio? And it's a great city. I love San Antonio.
Yeah.
Last game of the night. Last game that we're going to be talking about for Tuesday is the Nets versus Magic. Nets won 108-96. I had the Nets win this game just because I said that the Magic were dead in the water just because of the whole Jonathan Isaac injury. They lost all their momentum because of that. They were on a good roll. They had it going. I would have picked him to win this game if he wasn't playing and if he was still active but wasn't hurt. Does that make sense? If he was still active and wasn't hurt and didn't play, I'd still pick the Magic to win game. But I feel like this crushed all of their aura. So I'm not surprised the Nets won this game. Nets kind of have sneakily won a couple of games in this bubble, even though I thought they might have gone 0-8 because they have a bunch of G Leaguers and vets that should have been retired 5 years ago. So good on them. Good on them, I have to say. Kind of echoing what Broderick said, a lot of them have stepped up. You kind of wish what the Wizards were doing, but they didn't. So good for them. Anybody quick thoughts?
This just shows that NBA players can still hoop, whether they're no names or they're obviously the big names. All these players can play. It's a lot of it comes down to coaching and effort.
Cool.
I like seeing Jock Vaughn picking up where Kenny Atkinson left off. I was shocked when Kenny Atkinson got fired, but it's good to see Vaughn still having the team move as a unit, especially on defense as well as they have. So, that's my takeaway for the Nets.
It's wild to me that they're not thinking of bringing Vaughn back. I mean, I guess maybe Kyrie and KD don't like him, but it's just wild how he's turned it around and nothing.
Well, it's wild that they fired Kenny Atkinson in the fucking first place. So it's it's whatever. You got to listen to your star players, I guess, right?
I don't know. I don't agree. Not Kyrie. I don't know.
All right, that's fine. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll finish up on yesterday's games, Wednesday games, then we're going to give our picks for Thursday and for Friday. Actually, we have to give our picks for the entire weekend. So, be ready for that.
Are we doing playoff picks too? Because everything's almost locked up.
Is there any game on Saturday? There might not be.
I think tomorrow's the last day for regular season.
Yeah, Friday's the last game.
All right, well then we'll do playoff picks all on our Sunday episode when we shoot Sunday. All right, so we'll be right back real quick. Thank you for being with us. X and O's with Evan and Bros. Bye.
Hey guys, take this moment to like and subscribe, and also follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Curbside Entertainment and Curbside Network, respectively. You can also find us on Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to X and O's with Evan and Bros. I'm your most gracious host, Evan. Joining me through Zoom is Mr. Cole Parris and Broderick Olin. So we were just joshing around a little bit, but in our X's and O's group message, things got a little heated over the last day or so between Grant, Broderick, EJ. It was pretty much you three. with a couple people sprinkled in through there, but it was just.
I don't know about them, but I'm spitting facts. They just say a blanket statement and don't back it up. I have stats and actual basketball experience to back it up. They just kind of throw stuff out there. I correct them, and they don't have a counter argument.
Now, I know one of the arguments we're talking about obviously Damian Lillard because he was going off that game. That's kind of what sparked this whole thing. But there's just some things you know are facts and true, and they just seem to be blind to it. And that's fine. Fan loyalty is a thing. You can have it. I get it. There's some things I would never want to admit about my favorite players or favorite organizations and stuff like that. But at some point you gotta open your eyes and be like, all right, you gotta make some room, for clear as day arguments and facts and things like that. One thing we were talking about was like, Portland obviously needs a number 2 because CJ has not stepped up big enough, and Damian Lillard has always needed help. One of the things I floated around there, I know this really pissed Broderick off, is I was like, why don't they get Kevin Love, right? Because I think
that didn't piss me off.
Well, I didn't piss you off. I'm saying what they were saying, their rebuttal about me saying Kevin Love joining the Portland, that or Blake Griffin. It's a power forward type player that can, give you scoring. Obviously, Blake Griffin and Kevin Love are 2 very different style of players, but they both give you, what they need is pretty much consistent scoring. Blake's more of a primary ball handler though, so that's why I think Kevin Love fits better with them. But I think Kevin Love might be a little better than Blake. Kevin, they were trashing Kevin, at least Grant was, because
I had to step up and
defend his man. Now
defend my guy.
But you were defending him also because you are a Cavs fan, and he has been a pretty good player for the Cavs. Even after LeBron, even after Kyrie left, even after he knew LeBron was probably going to leave, I'm sure LeBron told Kevin signed an extension with the team. Now, whether the team should have signed him to a 5-year deal or should have Kevin Love really re-signed with them, that's here or there. But he did because he's a pretty loyal guy. He was in Minnesota. I mean, he's been in 2 pretty trash cities. No offense. No offense, Broderick.
They ain't trash cities.
Right. But I think he would look great in the Trailblazers uniform, and I think he would complement Damian Lillard very well. And I do not think he is trash. So
Agreed.
I'm with you there.
Yeah. Grant just said he provided nothing. And I was like, what do you mean he provided nothing? Is he a great player? No. But was he bad? By no means. He was a good player. Not great, not bad. And he's like, did you watch the 2016 finals? And I said, I'm a Cavs fan. What are you talking about? Of course I watched it. I rewatch it every week because it's my one shot at glory. I will probably never feel that way ever again. But then he was like, it would have been better if there's just 4 people out there. And I was like, that's a terrible argument. And I was like, do you know who had the best plus minus in Game 7? Kevin Love. Plus 19. He's like, you can't do that. I'm like, why not? Why can't I use plus minus in a Game 7 with a championship on the line where every player is giving it their all? That's probably the one situation where you can use plus minus for your argument, because there's no reason for a player not to be giving it their all. You can't argue against a game best plus 19. He was played great defense that game. Other games in the series, no. But in that Game 7, he was a difference maker. There's no argument against it. He spread the floor, played good defense, and he knew Curry was trying to shoot a 3 to win it, and not to win it, to tie it, and he played good defense. He adjusted to it. So, yeah, that's my defense of Kevin Love. Yeah, Warriors, he was a mismatch, but there are some games in that series where he played well and is definitely better than having just 4 people on the court. Had to defend my guy.
All right, let's talk about yesterday's games real quick. All right, so first up, we got Clippers Nuggets. Clippers won 124 to 111. I think we split this one. I think some people said Clippers, some people said Nuggets. If I'm not mistaken, I might have picked Nuggets. I feel like I did. I'm not sure though. Because I wasn't sure who was exactly playing this game. I don't think anybody did. But they're still playing for that 2 and 3 spot, which could be huge because if you're playing a 3, you quite possibly could also be playing the Nuggets. I mean, not the Nuggets, the Mavericks.
No, Mavericks are locked up at 7.
They're okay. So I'd rather be the 3 spot than the 2, personally.
Yeah, I agree. I'd rather play the Jazz in the first round.
Especially the way the Jazz have looked in this bubble, which they might be in the running for looking the worst out of everybody.
Can't really score the ball.
Can't really score the ball. They can play defense, and you can lean on Donovan Mitchell as much as you can. But again, Donovan Mitchell can only do so much. So we'll see. But I'd rather be that because you're still on the same side of the bracket. So I'd rather be that 3 spot than the 2, but that is just me. Any thoughts on this game, y'all?
I like Lou Will showing signs of life, finally coming back from, his Magic City experience. But also like the fact that they were taking care of the ball. When I checked near the end of the game, I think they only had 6 turnovers, and Denver averages, I think, 14 turnovers, something around the 13, 14 opponent turnovers. So that was pretty huge. And then also that big second half explosion from their offense is also very nice to see. And you're going to need that come playoff time.
I like what I saw from the Nuggets. They rested their starters in the fourth quarter, and going to the fourth, they had a lead. So that's a very good sign for the Nuggets.
Good sign. Good point.
Their bench players are playing well. Starters playing well. Michael Porter Jr. has really emerged, which is great to see. Gary Harris isn't even back yet. Neither is Will Barton. So, I don't know if those guys are coming back. If they do, it'll help them. If not, Nuggets have a damn good team going forward. And once the rotations start to slim, where it just gets to 8 or 9 guys, you'll see these starters play more minutes. And I mean, I really like what I saw from the Nuggets. I mean, Clippers too, but just Nuggets the past couple of games with resting their starters, they're still playing well.
Yeah. Last thing on this game, I saw the Mike Malone, right? Head coach.
Yep. Yeah, Mike Malone.
Mike Malone said that Porter's their starting 3. He is their starting small forward. He will remain as their starting small forward, which is the smart move. He is one of the players that have played extremely well in the bubble. Hopefully this play continues, because I think he quite possibly, obviously you can't replicate what Kevin Durant does, right? I mean, it's impossible. Brandon Ingram's been trying to do it for like 5 years now, but I think Michael Porter Jr. quite possibly could be that number 2 for the Nuggets. Obviously, Jokic is number 1. Actually, I tell you what, the way Jokic passes the ball, he might very well be their number 1 scoring option. So he quite possibly could be. So I'm happy for, right? I mean, he could be. I'm not saying he will be.
You got a good point.
So I like him. He's long. He can defend, and he probably can shoot from anywhere. So they hit on that draft pick. It was always stupid to me that he fell after being the number 1 player in the class. And obviously injuries, are important. We talked about how that family has an injury history, but still, when you have that talent, that size, you just got to draft him. And it's silly how they drafted him, and they also drafted Bol Bol, who also slid. It's just kind of crazy how some organizations do that. So kudos to them. All right.
See, but when you look at real quick.
No, go ahead.
The Nuggets, they already had a really good team established. So it was very low risk, high reward, because if they hit on the pick, then damn, we got an amazing player. If not, they already have great depth, so it doesn't hurt them.
No,
I get both those
that.
guys fell to a great situation, but it doesn't excuse the fact that MPJ went 14th when he should have gone
10th.
Higher up.
Yeah,
and
something.
Bol was 44th. Yeah, doesn't make sense.
If Cam Reddish is going 8, how does Michael Porter Jr. go 14? I understand injury, but come on. All right, moving on. Heat Thunder. Thunder won this game 116 and a nail biter, 116 to 115. This game kind of got a little chippy. I feel like the Heat probably going to try to get chippy with everybody. I think both these teams are kind of similar, where they just try to feel like they want to fight everybody. Chris Paul, I think he thinks everybody has it out for him. But this game, the Thunder pulled it out. Kind of surprising. I think I picked the Heat to win this game because the Thunder has been playing like dorts of the world and these trash players who look like they're all G Leaguers.
Dort's no trash player.
All right, whatever. You didn't know
disrespect Dort like that.
You didn't know who Dort was prior to this bubble.
Yes, I did.
Okay. Anyway,
one of us watches basketball.
Anyway, this game, yes, was surprising, but I mean, both these teams are kind of similar, so I'm not that shocked. It's a 50-50 game, I think, in my eyes. But every time I picked the Thunder to win, they've lost. So, way to go, Thunder. I didn't pick you to win. You won. So, no shock here. Cole, Any thoughts?
I still can't really figure the Thunder out. I mean, the 22-point comeback, obviously incredibly impressive. And there are some games where they just look like a very cohesive unit. They come together. Chris Paul giving it off to Shy scoring, and then you got contributions from Dort and the like. But then there are some games where I'm just like, I don't know who they're going to hold up against. So, maybe this is a sign of good things to come, that they have that resiliency.
We're still picking. We're picking Houston in the series, right? Right.
I'm still picking Houston, but I think it might be closer than we think.
Yeah,
because the Thunder have matched up well against Houston. Throughout the regular season,
you have to feed Steven Adams, right? You have to give Steven Adams like 30 shot attempts in the paint.
See, what people don't realize is that the Rockets' offense forces teams to play outside how they would like. Like when you look at when they played the Bucks, Brook Lopez took 18 shots. That's you would rather have Brook Lopez take 18 shots than Giannis take 18 to 30. They make them change their offensive game plan to adjust for the Rockets. And when you look at when they played the Mavericks, Porzingis dropped 39, but it's not Luka taking the offense and being in control. They always just go to your bigs and just expect them to dominate. So the Rockets doing that, it forces teams to play outside their comfort zone. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And with OKC, they're very backcourt heavy in terms of scoring. So you're not going to force OKC to play outside their comfort zone. So that's why I think OKC is a good matchup. I still have the Rockets winning that series, but I think it'll be tougher than many people think.
All right, moving on. Raptors 76ers. I picked the Raptors to win this game because obviously Embiid was not going to play. But he is coming back. I think he's playing either today or tomorrow. So that was actually kind of surprising to see. I don't know why they would.
Is there a point to him?
I don't. Locked up in this. They're locked in the seating, right? So I don't know why he's playing, and he's been playing good. It's not like he's looked bad or rusty. So it's like I have no idea why he's playing. Maybe for pride. I have no idea.
I think they're just testing more of the without Simmons offense. They might try to do like a 4-out, 1-in. Maybe just test some stuff out.
Maybe save Brett Brown's job. I have no clue. But they lose this game. Raptors, I still think they're locked at 2 seeds, so they'll be playing. Who's the 7?
Nets.
Are they above the Magic?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They're comfortably above the Magic, actually.
Okay.
It's like 3 or 4 games.
It's locked.
Okay. So I tell you what, then they're definitely in the second round. If that's the case, they'll be playing I still take the Celtics in that matchup between the Raptors and the Celtics, but kudos to them, defending world champs. It's been a nice run. Good for you. Any thoughts? Quick thoughts?
If everything happens as we expect, it'll be a Raptors-Celtics matchup. That'll be tough. I think the Celtics have the upper hand on the Raptors, but still won't be an easy series.
No, it won't be. I think it very well could go 7. I'm not saying that the Raptors won't have it. I just think in that matchup, the Raptors just don't have – this is when Kawhi's going to be missing because I don't think Kyle Lowry's that guy. I think you're going to see where when you need – and Siakam's a really good number 2, but you need to have that guy that can –
and Celtics kind of have 3 of those.
They might have 3 of those guys, right? If you want to throw Kemba in that, I think we're talking about Tatum, Jalen, and Kemba, right? Mm-hmm. And
I mean, Hayward's
been playing
like he's that guy too.
but he's that number. And Hayward has played really good in the bubble. I think this extra time has just given him more confidence. So
it's because he's able to game on the road. So when you look at his stats when he's able to game as opposed to when he's not able to game, his stats are much higher on the road when he brings his gaming system and he plays on the road. So I think he's just sitting in his room playing some COD or something, and his stats are getting a huge bump because of it.
So okay. Cole, got any thoughts about those Raptors? We were talking about the Celtics during the Raptors game.
Yeah, but basically, just happy to see the balanced attack for the norm. But again, like you said, star power is obviously going to be what gets them over the hump against teams like the Celtics. So I guess it's just good to see that everybody helps out. So, and again, Nick Nurse, great job with the team. And hopefully, I'm excited to see him go against Brad Stevens. I think that's two of the great young coaches in the league going at it in the first round.
Brad Stevens
that should be on everybody's list.
Speaking of that, just got an extension. They're working towards an extension with Brad Stevens, so he's going to be a Celtic for a long time.
And he better.
Yeah, you can't let him go. He is he's the Popovich of the East, basically, right? Kind of what pretty much consensus.
Him and Nick are probably fighting for that.
Yeah.
Best coach. Pacers Rockets. Pacers pulled this one out after losing to the Heat, which is actually, I think, is very important. I think it would have been very easy for the Celtics to kind of go in the skid after losing to the Heat because they went on a high beating the Lakers, right? And then you play the Heat next. Yeah, talking about the Pacers.
I think you said Celtics.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, did I? Okay. Pacers go on this high of beating the Lakers. And then, so it would have been very easy. You lose to the Heat on a back-to-back, and then you could have gotten to this skid, right? Right before playoff time, which would have been dangerous, would have been bad. But they bounced back. They beat a Rockets team that I'm pretty sure Harden played. Did Harden?
Yeah, Harden.
Yep.
Harden played 35 minutes.
Harden played, put 45 up. And this is my point where it's hard to get, when you have players like Harden, where you have players like Damian Lillard, you love to have them on your team, and they will win you probably the majority of your games, but they cannot win you all these games by themselves. And Russell Westbrook did not play. So that's important. And so that cannot be forgotten. But he did not play. And this team, hopefully Russell.
TJ Warren didn't play.
Did TJ Warren not play?
TJ Warren didn't play.
He has a more mild case of Sabonis' foot injury.
Hey, I tell you what, though. We had a Miles Turner sighting.
Yeah.
He's alive.
He's alive.
He's alive.
Because his past couple matchups, he has looked freaking like garbage. And I am one of the biggest Miles Turner supporters. I love Miles Turner. Because my dad is he's a loose Pacers fan, reigning from the greatest state of Indiana. But during that draft, I was like, hey, they're going to take this kid from Texas. He's a shot blocker. He's long. He's going to be sick. Just watch out. They took Miles Turner like how I predicted. And he's been frustrating because he had a promising rookie campaign. And then he made a bit of an improvement year 2, but since year 2 from year 4, he has looked the same. So
he's been great defensively, but
great defensively, but the lack
of offensive
production has been exactly. Lack of offensive production has been troubling. So I'm actually shocked that the Pacers did pull this one out. Victor Oladipo has been looking really good. He shot 6 of 10.
Shooting numbers weren't.
Yeah, he shot 6 of 10. What you mean?
He shot 7 of 26. That's not good.
What? Are we looking at the same?
Justin Holiday
You're
shot
looking
6 of
at
10.
Justin Holiday.
Damn it. Yeah. So Victor shot 7 of 26. I retract my statement. I retract my statement. He's just warming up, y'all. He's just warming up.
I was looking at the shooting splits as you said that, and you're like, Oladipo shotgun. I was like,
right.
what? I was like, are we looking at the same?
Victor's not going to shoot 12 shots from 3 ever again. That's not his game.
Please.
I don't know why he shot 12 shots from 3. I would have to see the game. Maybe they were wide open threes. I have no clue. But if they're wide open threes, he better be knocking them down. I'm done. I'm moving on. What do y'all think?
Looking at the Pacers, words are tough. The difference maker was the bench. And you look at the plus minus, they were all plus 10 or more besides one player. You look at the Rockets, Covington, Harden, and Tucker were all in the positive. The rest were heavily in the negative. So I think it came down to the bench this game, which makes sense because the Rockets usually only go 7 or 8 deep, and they decided to go 10 this game. So I don't think too much of it with the Rockets losing, but I do think it is a little concerning when you play James Harden 35 minutes and still lose.
Cole?
Like we were talking about Miles Turner getting back on track. I mean, he came into this game struggling, I think, probably more than any starting center in the bubble.
Oh, for sure.
And yeah, and him just going off for 18 and 12 against the Rockets really does display the Rockets' inability to guard the 5, which is not surprising to anybody who understands how height works, which I don't think Mike D'Antoni does. So, I don't know.
I feel so bad for PJ Tucker because he's gone from being a really good defensive player. And I tell you what, this has really showed. I know they only show highlights of it, so you really don't know about the majority of the time. But since Harden is in the plus, it pretty much says it. And this was kind of thing we were talking about in the group message, I think. We were talking about this. Harden actually is a very good defender. I think Harden's
it's another thing I want to defend.
Harden is a very good defender, and nobody's given it. Well, I think now that they're playing in the small system, you're starting to see it. But because he's taken on a lot of the primary, at least bigs that come into, because he is one of the taller guys on that starting 5 when they put him out there.
He matched up with Giannis very well, and he played
Porzingis,
great defense against Giannis.
I mean, like, when I think they put the numbers when Harden's the primary defender on all these guys, they're having the worst shooting. Like it's no he is, and he's still putting up 40 points. Like it's
because he's a strong dude with like a very good core,
good lower base,
so
and he's
crucial.
able to
and like post defense.
Agreed.
People need to put some respect on his name. It's such a casual fan argument saying Harden's bad at defense.
It is. It really is.
If you say it's a lack of effort, that's one thing. But calling him a bad defender, that's just wrong.
No, he is putting in. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. I was always critical of Harden on defense, but over this season, especially with the small ball, he's really stepped up, and so I got to give him credit for that.
Oh yeah, no, and I think that narrative that he's a bad defender needs to stop now because he really has. I think he's always been a good defender, but especially like you said, Cole, this season he's really stepped up and he's really kind of shown that yes, he does play defense. So leave the guy alone. You can be mad at his offensive game. He might get to the line, he might be fishing for fouls, but guess what? That's part of basketball. So be mad at the rules. Don't be mad at him. All right, let's pick them. Broderick, get your list ready. Get
notes.
Get it
God,
up.
This is going to be so tough to predict because I have no idea who's playing.
Yeah, we don't know who's playing or not, so we're just going to go off of, a feel alone. So me, Cole, and Broderick's picks are about to come up. I'll go first. We're starting with the Wizards and Celtics today at 12 o'clock. Early game. If you are local Boston, you might be able to get it, but I don't think we're going to get it unless you stream it. I'm going Celtics. Wizards are ass. I'm never picking the Wizards. Cole, your Wizards?
Can't wait to see them go winless and be in Orlando for no reason at all other than for people to laugh at them. So give me Celtics.
Celtics. All right. Good.
I think I picked the Celtics every game. I love this Celtics team.
We got Kings, Lakers. All right. I looked
it up. LeBron and AD are day to day, so take the information and do what you want with it.
I'm going Kings.
Lakers.
I'm going Kings. I don't think anyone will be playing for the Lakers, so
yeah.
All right, Bucks, Grizzlies. You want to take this one, Cole?
I'm going Bucks. For some reason, it just seems like the Grizzlies aren't going to step up for this one. They should, but Dylan Brooks has been pretty bad, and Ja's been playing out of his freaking mind, and it still hasn't been enough to lose games by 10. So,
Broderick,
I'm going Bucks as well, just because I have the Suns getting in, so I kind of need the Grizzlies to lose this game, and I also really want to see a Blazers Suns playing game. So.
That would be the playing
Bucks
game.
bench is also really good.
Does this eliminate the Grizzlies?
If Grizzlies lose, they're eliminated. If they win, they're in.
All right, I'm going Grizzlies then. I'm lone wolfing it. All right, Mavericks Suns. Suns are favored by 8 points. You said the Mavericks are locked in there.
Mavericks are locked in.
All right, I'm going Suns. Cole?
Never thought I'd see a Suns favorable line. But I'm going Suns. I want to see them go 8-0.
I know you never really thought you would see it, right?
Never thought I would see the day.
I'm going Suns.
8-0. We're all predicted 8-0. Wow, who would have thought? Who would have predicted that shit?
I haven't checked who's playing, but I can't see the Mavericks risking anything.
All right, we got Spurs Jazz up next. Spurs are favored. I'm going still Spurs. I'm going Spurs in this one.
I agree, Spurs.
Cole?
Spurs.
Good. Have we agreed? Well, I guess we haven't agreed on all of them. Pelicans Magic. God, this is going to be the worst game of the day. You go first, Broderick. Let me know what you think. This is
tough.
This is tough. Cole, you got one?
I'm going Pelicans.
Pelicans.
I'm going to go Magic because I think that they're probably going to – well, first of all, I'm not impressed by anybody on the Pelicans bench and besides Ja, but I'm going to go Magic.
I just don't think anyone in the Magic will be playing just because they're locked in, so I don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm going Magic. I'll go Magic. All right, last game of the day, we got Trailblazers Nets. You got to go Trailblazers.
I think we're all good in the same boat here.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to finish our pick'em for tomorrow, for Saturday games, and then Friday games, and then we'll move on to other news. All right, guys, we'll be right back.
Take this moment to like and subscribe, and also follow us on the Instagram and Twitter at Curbside Entertainment and at Curbside Network, respectively. You can also find us on Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to episode 16 of X's and O's with Evan and Bros. Wow, we're just 16 is kind of hard to believe. It is August, what is it? August 14th.
13th.
Well,
no, 14th.
We're shooting.
Oh, we're recording it up. Yeah, okay, gotcha.
August 14th. This
a little
is
slow.
In the future. We're in the past, and we're talking about the future. All right. So we're going to talk about Friday's games. And up first, we got Nuggets Raptors. Woo! Does anybody play this game? I guess
I don't see a reason any starters should play this game besides just giving them maybe a quarter so they're not rusty going into the playoffs.
All right, I'm going Nuggets.
I'm going Nuggets.
Let's start off. Cole?
I'm going Nuggets. Can't wait to see a 30-minute PJ Dozier game.
Yep. Hey, he's going to go off for 30, though. You're going to get it, and you're going to like it.
I'm here for it.
You're going to get it. You're going to like it. Rematch of the century, Heat Pacers. I'm going Pacers. I think the bench stepped up in this last Houston game. I'm going Pacers over the Heat.
I'll go Heat.
I'm going to go Heat, and that's just a gut feeling. I don't really have anything really to go with other than that's my gut feeling.
Yeah.
All right. Thunder Clippers. Anybody want to take this one?
Give me Clippers just because is Montrez going to play this game?
He has to, right? He has to warm up a little bit.
Yeah, if Montrez plays this game, then give me Clippers.
I don't know. These games are so tough. We don't know who's playing. I'm gonna go Clippers.
I'm going to go Clippers as well.
I'm hesitant saying Clippers, but I'm gonna go with them.
All right. Last game of the bubble regular season. 76ers Rockets. This could have been a fun game, but now I think it's going to be boo-boo. Actually, I think Embiid might be playing this game. I don't.
Lord knows why.
I don't know what they're going to do. Oh my God. I'm going 76ers over Rockets.
I agree.
I'm going to go Sixers Rockets. I'm just going to have a heart attack watching both of these coaches play or go at it.
You don't like either of these coaches?
I don't like Brett Brown, and I hate Mike D'Antoni. Or Mark D'Antoni. I hate him.
Mike.
That's funny. All right. So we're going to move on to some other news. Okay. So I kind of talked about it early on, but when we filmed episode 15, we did not know the final verdict of the college football season so far. But guess what? Now we do.
Spring football.
It sounds like we could get 2 seasons in 1 year, which would be, I don't know how I feel about that, because the way I see it, since the NFL is still going on, I don't think anybody, if you're a Big Ten player, if you're a Pac-12 player, all right, so Pac-12 and Big Ten both postponed the fall season. And SEC is still going on. Big 12 is still going on. ACC is still going on. I'm not shocked about these 3 leagues because they're kind of more of the more southern, more conservative leagues. So I'm not surprised versus like the Big Ten and especially the Pac-12. I would have thought the Pac-12 was the first one to cancel, to be honest, because it has a lot of California schools. That would have been the first one I thought would have gone. But the Big Ten was the first Power 5 to do it. So the Big 12, SEC and ACC sound like they're still going on. Obviously, things can change in the next week or two. You know, this is a revolving door. But Pac-12, Big Ten are done. But the talent-wise, if you're a Big Ten player, if you're a Pac-12 player, do you even play in the spring? Because you're probably still going to get drafted in April. So maybe the NFL does something where they move it on, they move it. I don't know. I really don't know now what this means. But if you're a player, I don't risk it in the spring. I don't do
You're
it.
a top pick. Yeah, no.
No, right? You don't do it.
Yeah.
That's why, again, it never made sense to me why Trevor Lawrence is really campaigning this hard, because he knows he's number 1. So why go through any of this? Now, I saw that Ryan Day said they're still exploring avenues for Ohio State to play. I think they've been in contact with Nebraska because they were like, we play out-of-conference games, twice, 3 times a year. Why is this any different? Which is a good point. That is a good point. Why would this be any different? They wouldn't be eligible to play in the SEC championship if they went undefeated, right?
Yeah.
Now maybe you
wouldn't.
play 5 games you play three games Big 12, 3 games SEC, 3 games in the ACC. Maybe you do something like that, and watch Ohio State's schedule like Missouri, Kentucky, Vanderbilt,
Yeah, I can see it.
West Virginia, Texas Tech.
Tech.
Yeah,
Kansas.
that's Kansas, and then
Iowa State.
Pitt.
Hey, Iowa State. Hey,
that would be the biggest Ohio State thing. I would not be shocked. But so what do we smart move, bad move now that we know concrete that they are postponing Pac-12 and Big 12? Cole.
I would say as far as the Pac-12, that's not a shocker to me at all. I haven't heard any word about them or any school going to say, hey, we're going to play out of conference games. As far as the Big Ten goes, the big story to me is what are Justin Fields and Sean Wade going to do? Because Justin Fields, consensus is going to be a top 2 pick.
Top 2. You mean number
yeah.
2?
I mean, you can flip him and Trevor Lawrence whichever way. Depends on what team is going to be drafting if they want a pocket passer. I think so, yeah.
But Trevor can run too. He just doesn't have to right now.
Yeah, but also I think Justin Fields is a lot better at taking care of the ball than Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is a lot more of a gunner, whereas Justin Fields is a bit more hesitant with the deep ball, especially throwing into double coverage. But that could very well change with Trevor. So, but we could talk about that some other time. But yeah, as far as maybe playing in the spring, Justin Fields seems like a very competitive guy, and he seems all in on trying to play this season no matter what. And I understand
very
too,
competitive guy transfers from the guy that took his job.
Okay, I do not want to get into that because that would be an entire another episode. But yeah, I think he probably just wants that national championship, and I don't blame him. I think I had Ohio State going all the way this year.
Who, Fields wants the national championship?
Yeah,
well,
I think he does.
He needs to play. His makes sense, actually. I'm actually not because one, I think he still needs to prove that he is a really good thrower of the ball. So I am not mad at Justin Fields playing, and he still needs to win a championship. But my argument with Trevor, he's already done that, right? Trevor's already done that.
Right.
And he's not going to win the Heisman because the favorite never wins the Heisman anyway. So even Fields
Justin Ross
probably won't win the Heisman either. So it just Fields' argument makes way more sense for him to play. I just don't know how Ohio State goes about playing.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. Hopping around from conference to conference is going to do. And they're probably going to have to get the Notre Dame treatment where they don't have that extra game.
Probably just give them a temporary add to a conference, like you said with Notre Dame. Like Notre Dame, I guess, is in the ACC this year. Maybe throw Ohio State in the ACC or Big 12. Probably Big 12.
Yeah, Big 12 makes more sense.
They're still looking for a third game.
Speaking of the Big 12 released their tentative schedule, probably subject to change, right? I mean, who knows with times like these. They start play September 26th, which sounds about right. And so these games, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games on the schedule.
9 plus 1. They're still waiting on the non-conference games.
So 10 games total, I guess.
Yep.
Non-conference games. So these start September 26th. Does that feel a little late to y'all?
Very late.
It does, but the SEC starts around that time too. So, and they did that a while ago. So I guess they kind of saw this one
that's
coming.
what I'm saying. But also going off of this, and it just doesn't make any sense to me how some of these leagues, and I know coronavirus and stuff like that, it's ever changing, right? We're always adjusting. There seems to be new data, new circumstances that happen that causes change every other month. But you would have figured that the brilliant people in charge of these colleges would have had things more concrete back in brilliant people back in I don't know, fucking May. I think
there's a lot of liability issues going on here because when you look at the NFL and NBA, these players are employees. When you look at the NCAA, they are not employees. They're still students.
Well, they're still students.
Yeah.
And
so I think a lot of these conferences just don't want to deal with all these liability issues and are willing to take the tank in revenue. And there's something major going on where they think it's not worth it to have the season.
Well,
and obviously in the SEC, they either don't care about these liability issues or they're just so concerned about profits.
Now, we were talking about this on Wednesday's episode where it's such a tough scenario because you can make the argument if they're having kids on campus, if they were like, well, I was saying at least, if they turned everything online already, like if other kids weren't coming to campus, then you cancel the football season, right? If in-class discussion is canceled, you cancel it already because there's no reason to have, why should the college athletes put their lives on risk if they're canceling it for everybody else, right? Doesn't make any sense. But since in-class discussion is a thing, then it's like, okay, if you're going to have kids on campus, okay. If kids are going to go to bars, like Nick Saban said, and go out and party, okay, then why not have the season? Why not? And they can probably do a better job of. And again, if players want to play, hashtag we want to play, let them play. Figure a way out. Now, but I do understand the argument where it's like, because I'm not ignorant to it, where it's like you have to prepare for worst case scenario. And now, and Cole can probably explain it better than I can, now with this heart condition that is reportedly being reported, right? Mm-hmm. Cole, can you talk a little more about that?
Yeah, so basically what they explored and really propped up in the Big Ten is this case called myocarditis, which is just inflammation of the heart inflammation of the heart muscle. And it's been found in at least 5 Big Ten conference athletes, but it's been in other conferences too. And I think what really put this in the light was that an Indiana offensive lineman, his name is Brady Feeney, his mother shared a Facebook post about the heart complications of this myocarditis while he battled COVID-19. And let's see, I'm going to paraphrase here. It said he was a kid in perfect health, great physical condition, and ended up going to the ER because of breathing issues, ... Bottom line, even if your son's school is doing everything right to protect them, they can't protect them. But
that's also everywhere though. Even if your home is doing everything right, even if your workplace is doing everything right, which no place is, but even if all these institutions are doing everything right, you can't protect from an airborne, this type of virus, this type of sickness. So it just, it's such a weird, I don't know, guys.
I think what this post is doing is not necessary. And I can't speak for him or for the mother. I can't speak for the offensive lineman. But what I see from this is they're not saying this season's a wash. The schools are not going to be able to do anything anyway. I think what they're saying is they're telling administration to not throw caution to the wind and just really be careful when developing these protocols and procedures, and just to actually take these risks into account instead of kind of pushing these aside and kind of minimizing what the impact could potentially be.
Broderick?
I think Cole nailed it, where you don't want to not make it seem like these issues, even though some of them might seem small, we still don't know the long-term effects on this virus, which they could be nothing, could be severe, but it's just, you got to plan for the future and do your best to just protect these athletes and protect these students. And like Cole was saying with this heart disease, you see it like just a few cases in every conference, but all it takes is one student athlete to die.
That's all it takes.
All it takes, just one. It could be a star player. It could be someone who never sees the field.
Nope.
All it takes is that one player. Then you have lawsuits.
I mean, I see
coming from everywhere.
I see the headline, so and so dies in practice. Not even like, because we've seen it where shit hits the fan during like heat stroke, or like sometimes there's been some crazy scenarios like that, and then the university's on fire. Maryland,
like you're saying,
specifically,
a school could be doing everything they can to prevent it, but it still happens. And if you don't have the right protocol and procedures in place, and you don't have enough protection from like reckless disregard and all this stuff, then you can get sued by so many people. You're in such a bad position. Like, just look at Maryland, like you're saying. They a player died from a heat stroke in practice.
I mean, that whole regime is like gone.
Yeah, everything was gone, and that's just
which rightfully so. There were some shitty things going on in that.
It was terrible.
Right.
But just imagine if a team doesn't take the coronavirus seriously, a player dies, even though it's such a small percentage of that happening, it's still possible. A player dies, it's all over.
Are y'all watching Saturday football?
Yeah, I mean, I can't not watch.
I can't not watch, right?
Yeah, it's very hard. It's just knowing that, because I'm very huge college football fan. I'm up from 9 a.m. till 2 a.m. every Saturday. watching these games. But it's just hard because these are people younger than me.
Now,
And
right?
I know. Yeah,
Isn't that sad? Now you can say that they're younger than you.
Yeah, like, they're some kids are 17 going out there and playing, like JT Daniels was when he was at USC. And ultimately, I got to say, you know what? I'm not the one that's on the ground, on the field playing. So it's going to be tough to push that aside. And just to add in one more point, the MAC canceled after seeing the myocarditis concerns too. I have a quote from the Northern Illinois AD when they said, "What we don't know was really haunting us. That's why we came to our final decision. That stuff is extremely scary." It's just that we're learning more and more about this virus every single day. The uncertainty and novelty are kind of what has everybody on edge. So, I mean, and like you said, it only takes one person.
It only takes one.
There's just so many moving parts to everything. It'll be interesting to see how this unfolds. I understand why players want to play. I understand why someone wants to opt out. Your argument for playing doesn't make you a worse person than the person who wants to opt out. It's just, it's a lot.
And I think a huge concern as well is there are players who fear that their scholarship and kind of that free tuition will be pulled from them if they choose not to play. So they'll have that pressure to play even if they're at risk because they don't want all that to be pulled from them and to be put in a very bad situation. So you could see cases where players play just because they're scared, not scared of the virus, but scared of the backlash if they choose not to play. So I think a huge thing is these conferences and the NCAA has to do everything possible to protect these players that choose to opt out and make sure they still receive the benefits. Because I'm not going to be able to pronounce it, but they have that heart condition and are scared to play and they feel like they have to play in order to honor their scholarship. They need to have some protective measures to make sure that scholarship is honored and they're safe to either play or to sit out.
Yeah, I think we all agree on that. Moving on, ESPN approached head coach of the Los Angeles Rams, Sean McVay, to join their Monday night crew, to leave the sideline, to join ESPN in the booth. This was ambitious. Sean McVay's young. He's just getting started in his young coaching career, one of the bright offensive minds in the game. I feel like there's a lot. I've heard Sean speak a couple times. Don't know if he was the pick. To be honest, I don't know if this was the guy that you would poach from the coaching ranks to. Yeah, he's a good-looking son of a bitch. I get it. But it's not like your demographic really gives a shit if they're good-looking dudes in there, maybe. But this was an interesting choice because I don't think he's not going to leave because the Rams are just getting started. Yes, they have some cap issues, but they'll probably, I think they've been trying to unload and figure things out. Everybody except for Aaron Donald. But they were just in the Super Bowl, 2 years ago? So I don't think I don't think Sean's leaving. How many head coaches can say they've been to a Super Bowl, let alone win? So it's like, it was an interesting choice. Interesting to try to go get him. But this, they wanted that Monday night. They've been trying to fill that Monday night spot for a while now. And I think they finally released their crew. I guess this was reported, But the interesting thing is, if ESPN approached him, there must have been whispers that he might have been interested. Usually it kind of goes both ways. Somebody in his camp might throw something out there. And he's kind of got that memory like Tony Romo. He's already kind of flexed that play memory. So this would have been... It's interesting that obviously I knew he wasn't going to leave, but there must be something in the water that said maybe he was interested in it. And that's more telling that maybe Sean only has a couple more years in him. Maybe he doesn't want to, coach into his, he's mid-30s by now. So I think he was like 32 when he was hired. So, maybe he doesn't want to be in his 50s and coaching. Maybe that's not his dream. Maybe he wins one and is out. What do y'all think about Sean McVay possibly joining the Monday Night Crew or, broadcasting in his future? Broderick.
I don't know why they approached him. I feel like your target market for, I guess, employees should be former players or newly retired players and coaches. I mean, he's in his 30s and he's done a pretty damn good job with the Rams. So I don't know why they would think they could pull him. I mean, I don't think they could offer him more money than what Los Angeles is. So I don't know what they were thinking. There's obviously something going on there that isn't being reported to us.
Right. There has to be some whispers and
because I'm trying to reason it out, and I'm like, there's no way Sean McVay would leave a good coaching job to go to the booth, especially at this early in his career. Maybe Monday Night Football just threw a Hail Mary out there because they really didn't like the crew they had. So they're like, let's try to get Sean McVay. But yeah, I don't like the decision. I feel like you should go for a quarterback or a recently retired player. So I don't know. I don't have much to say just because I'm kind of confused with the decision there.
Cole.
I know with a lot of person, I'm not a fly in the wall of the ESPN boardroom or anything, but I know with a lot of personnel decisions, usually there are 2 or 3 ones where like, okay, these are the ones we're taking seriously, and then they have the outside chance. And
the dream ones.
Sean McVay definitely had to be that outside chance because it said among other options were Peyton Manning, Tony Romo, Phillip Rivers, and Al Michaels. And I understand why they would approach Sean McVay. I mean, people go crazy when they see that clip of him breaking down the defense on the fly to the broadcast crew during a preseason game. But like I said, the timing of this is really weird. He's got a place on the Rams for as long as he wants it to be. But he has expressed that coaching isn't going to be the end all be all for him. Like he has said that he would explore options after coaching. But yeah, so it's just how young he is why this is kind of a story.
Yeah. Breaking news. I don't know if y'all saw this, but George Kittle just got the bag. George Kittle.
Yep. Is that the fake report or is it the real one?
This is the real one. This is the real one. 49ers tight end George Kittle signs the largest tight end deal in NFL history with massive 5-year, $75 million extension with $40 million guaranteed. He is going to be a 49er for the next 5 years. This is a smart move by the 49ers. I actually think, now I really don't know tight end money, but compared to other deals that have been said in the last, month or so, this is a fairly cheap deal. Only, I say only $40 million guaranteed. I mean, compared to, now again, it is still the highest paid tight end, but compared to like the defensive end contracts, compared to, obviously Patrick Mahomes, which is still a good deal, but like compared to some of these other deals, I think this is probably a win for both teams. I don't think they're investing a lot, but they, it doesn't seem like they broke the bank. It's not like a $90 million deal. It's not like a $80 million deal. You're right at 75, which I think is, and what? So you got 40 guaranteed with, I don't know how much incentives there. So it's like probably some Pro Bowls, maybe if, he gets over 1,000 yards or something like that. It's a certain number of catches, who knows? But George Kittle is vital to that 49ers offense. So good move. Cole, quick thoughts. I know this just broke.
Yep. It says here that this would make him, if he was a wide receiver, which he basically is, it would make him the 12th highest paid wide receiver in the NFL, just behind Jarvis Landry.
It's probably about right? I mean, I think
juice.
Yep. I would venture to say, I think
somewhere between 10.
The mark.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the market, and I think a lot of actual people outside of people who have those tight ends underestimate just how valuable a George Kittle or a Travis Kelce or a Zach Ertz is. If you have a hybrid tight end like that, which is just basically unguardable, because you put a linebacker on them, they're too slow. You put a defensive back on them, they're too small. So, and we've seen George Kittle just explode for huge plays. I mean, just look at the Super Bowl. He was probably the best receiver that they had that game.
Well, he's also the only receiver they have this game because the 49ers have not done well getting receivers. And now that Godwin opted out, Cooper's going to be out. Pharaoh Cooper?
I don't know.
Not Pharaoh Cooper.
I like Debo.
Debo's out, though. Isn't Debo hurt?
Sanders left.
Sanders is gone.
Left.
Debo's hurt.
And we don't know what I think Pettis. We don't know what he's going to end up being.
So, Broderick, give me a 30-second take right here.
George Kittle, good at football. Rich man.
Rich man now. He is.
Yes.
He's a rich man now. I'm happy for George. Again, you like to see a lot of these not lesser positions, because tight end position has grown into one of the vital ones in the league. So you like to see them get paid. You like to see them get the bag. And he's a kid playing football too. He's kind of like, he goes from being what? They were talking about his story, $180 coming out of high school. And then he's become one of the most dominant players in the NFL, Harley recruited. So good on him. Guys, that is episode 16 of X Knows Evan and Bros. Thank you to Cole and Broderick for joining me. Tossine, take us out. Good show, y'all. Good show. Have a great weekend, by the way. Peace.